Chief Emeka Okonkwo stood before his wife's grave, tears streaming down his face. The marble headstone read, Chioma Okonkwo, beloved wife and mother. 6 months had passed since cancer took her from them, and the pain felt as fresh as the day she died. Papa, can we go home now? A small voice asked. Chief Emeka looked down at his 12-year-old son, Kochi. The boy looked so small, so lost without his mother. His school uniform hung a bit loose on his thin frame, and his eyes, those eyes that once sparkled with joy, now seemed dimmed by grief. Yes, son. Let's go home, Chief Emeka said, his voice heavy. At 42, Chief Emeka was one of Lagos's most successful businessmen, but all his wealth couldn't bring back his wife or ease his son's pain. The mansion that once echoed with laughter now felt like a tomb. The pressure began at a family gathering 2 weeks later. Brother, you need to remarry, his sister Adana insisted. Kochi is only 12. He needs a mother figure. You can't raise him alone. A boy that age needs a woman's touch, his aunt added. You're always traveling for business. Who's taking care of him? Chief Emeka resisted at first, but the loneliness was crushing. Watching Kochi withdraw into himself, struggling with homework, missing his mother's bedtime stories, it broke his heart. Then he met Ngozi at a business luncheon. She was elegant, 35 years old, poised, with a warm smile that seemed genuine. A widow herself, she spoke eloquently about raising her 15-year-old son Dubem alone after her husband's death. It's not easy being both parents, she said, her voice soft with understanding. But children are resilient. They just need love and stability. Chief Emeka found himself drawn to her wisdom and grace. When he mentioned Kochi, her eyes lit up with what seemed like genuine maternal warmth. I would love to meet him, she said. Every child deserves to feel loved, especially after such a loss. The first meeting was at a park. Ngozi arrived with Dubem, a tall, well-built 15-year-old with neat cornrows. Kochi, small for his 12 years, looked up nervously at the older boy. Kochi, Ngozi exclaimed, kneeling to the child's level. Your father has told me so much about you. You look just like your mother. She must have been beautiful. Kochi's eyes welled up at the mention of his mother. Ngozi gently wiped his tears. I'm not trying to replace her, sweetheart, she said softly. No one ever could. But I hope we can be friends. Would you like that? The 12-year-old nodded slowly, desperate for that maternal warmth he'd lost. Dubem extended his hand. Hey, little man. I always wanted a younger brother. Maybe I can teach you to play football. Kochi's face brightened for the first time in months. Really? Really, Dubem said with a warm smile that seemed so genuine. The courtship was swift. Ngozi visited often, always bringing Kochi's favorite treats, helping him with homework, braiding his hair the way his mother used to. Chief Emeka watched in amazement as his son slowly came back to life. She's wonderful with him, Mama Adiz, the old housekeeper, remarked one evening. But there was something in her voice, a hesitation Chief Emeka didn't catch. 6 months after they met, Chief Emeka and Ngozi married in a beautiful ceremony. Kochi stood beside them in a little suit, a genuine smile on his face for the first time since his mother's death. Dubem stood on the other side, playing the perfect older brother role. The first months seemed perfect. Ngozi cooked family dinners, helped Kochi with school projects, attended his football matches. Dubem taught him video games and protected him from bullies at school. The house felt alive again. Then came the announcement. I have to travel to South Africa for 3 weeks, Chief Emeka said at dinner. Important merger meetings I can't postpone. Don't worry, darling, Ngozi said, placing her hand over his. I'll take excellent care of everything here. Won't I, Kochi? The 12-year-old nodded, still trusting, still innocent. Dubem and I will make sure he has fun while you're gone, sir, the 15-year-old added with a smile. Chief Emeka left on a Monday morning. He hugged Kochi tightly. Be good for your mother, okay? I'll call every day. Yes, Papa, Kochi said, his small voice filled with trust. As the black Mercedes pulled away from the mansion, Chief Emeka waved from the back window. Kochi waved back, standing between Ngozi and Dubem. The moment the car disappeared through the gates, Kochi felt Ngozi's hand tighten painfully on his shoulder. He looked up, confused, and froze. The warm, loving smile was gone. In its place was something cold, something cruel. Her eyes, which had always looked at him with such tenderness, now gleamed with malice. "Well, well," she said, her voice completely different, harsh and mocking. "Now the real fun begins." Dubem's friendly demeanor vanished instantly. He cracked his knuckles menacingly, looking down at the small 12-year-old with a smirk. "Welcome to your new life, little houseboy," he said, his voice dripping with contempt. Kochi's blood ran cold. His heart began to race. Something was terribly, terribly wrong. What?" he stammered, his child's voice trembling. Ngozi bent down, her face inches from his, and the 12-year-old could see the hatred in her eyes, hatred that had been perfectly hidden for 6 months. "Your father is gone for 3 weeks, she hissed. "And you belong to us now. Oh wow. Did you see that?" The mask dropped the second Papa left. "She fooled everyone for 6 months. If you're already furious at this fake stepmother, smash that like button and subscribe to AfricanTales by Inayah. Drop a comment. Did you suspect Ngozi was evil from the start? Next chapter shows what she really does to this 12-year-old boy, and it's worse than you can imagine. Share this video. Turn on notifications. The transformation was instant and terrifying. "Get inside," Ngozi ordered, shoving 12-year-old Kochi roughly toward the house. He stumbled, catching himself on the doorframe. "But I don't understand." Kochi's small voice trembled. "Why are you being mean? I thought." "You thought what?" Ngozi laughed cruelly. "That I actually cared about you. That I loved you." She grabbed his chin roughly, forcing him to look at her. "I married your stupid father for his money, you foolish child. And you were just part of the package I had to tolerate." Tears sprang to Kochi's eyes. "But you were so nice." "That's called acting, you idiot," Dubem said, shoving the smaller boy from behind. At 15, he towered over Kochi. "And you fell for it completely. So did your dumb father." That first night set the tone for everything to come. Ngozi called Kochi to the kitchen at 9 p.m., long past his bedtime. When he arrived in his pajamas, rubbing his sleepy eyes, she pointed to a sink full of dirty dishes. "Wash them. All of them." But I have school tomorrow," Kochi protested weakly. "And that's what Mama Adiz does. I am your mother now." Ngozi screamed, making the child flinch. "And I say you wash them. Unless you want me to tell your father how disrespectful and ungrateful you've been." Kochi's hands trembled as he climbed onto a stool to reach the sink. His small hands, used to holding pencils and footballs, now struggled with greasy plates and heavy pots. He worked until midnight, his fingers pruning, his back aching. When he finally stumbled to his bedroom, he found Dubem sitting on his bed. "What are you doing in my room?" Kochi asked, exhausted. "Your room." Dubem laughed. "This is my room now. My mother says so. You're sleeping in the storage room from now on." "No. This is my room. My mama decorated it." Dubem stood up, using his size to intimidate the smaller child. "You want to argue with me, little boy?" He pushed Kochi hard, sending the 12-year-old sprawling onto the floor. "Mama!" Dubem called out. "The brat is being disrespectful." Ngozi appeared in the doorway, her face twisted with false concern, but her eyes were cold. "Kochi, is this true? Are you being difficult?" "No. I just want my room." The slap came so fast, so hard, that Kochi saw stars. He fell to the floor, his cheek burning, his small body shaking with shock. No one had ever hit him before. Never. "Don't you dare raise your voice to me," Ngozi hissed. Your mother is dead. This is my house now. And you will do as I say. Through his tears, 12-year-old Kochi watched Dubum move his things into the bedroom. His bedroom, the room his mother had painted blue because it was his favorite color, where she'd hung glow-in-the-dark stars on the ceiling, where she'd read him bedtime stories. Kochi was led to a small storage room near the kitchen. It was hot, cramped, with just a thin mat on the floor. No windows, no stars, no memories of his mother's love. That night, curled up on the mat, Kochi cried himself to sleep. The days that followed became a nightmare. Ngozi woke him at 5 a.m. every morning to clean the entire house before school. His small hands scrubbed floors, wiped windows, and carried heavy buckets of water. By the time he left for school at 7 a.m., he was already exhausted. Don't you dare tell anyone at school, Ngozi warned every morning, gripping his arm painfully. If you do, I'll tell your father you're lying. And he'll send you away. Is that what you want? Kochi shook his head, terrified. At school, his teacher noticed he was falling asleep in class. Kochi, are you feeling all right? Mrs. Ibrahim asked with concern. Yes, Ma, he lied, his 12-year-old voice barely a whisper. But things were worse at home. Ngozi went through his mother's belongings, precious jewelry, beautiful clothes, photo albums, and gave everything to Dubum. No, please, Kochi begged, watching his mother's gold necklace, the one she wore every day, being placed around Dubum's neck. That was Mama's. It's all I have left. Ngozi grabbed his face roughly. Your mother is dead. These things are wasted on a useless child like you. Dubum deserves them. When Kochi tried to grab the necklace, Dubum punched him in the stomach. The 12-year-old collapsed, gasping for air, while they laughed. Meals became another form of torture. Ngozi and Dubum ate lavish dinners, jollof rice, fried chicken, plantains, fresh juice. Kochi was given leftover gari or cold, old rice. Can I have some chicken? Kochi asked one evening, his stomach growling. Chicken is for family, Ngozi said dismissively. You're just the houseboy now. Eat your food and be grateful. Mama Adiz, the old housekeeper, tried to sneak him extra food once. Ngozi caught her. If you help this ungrateful child again, Ngozi threatened in private, I'll tell Chief Emeka you've been stealing. I'll plant evidence. You'll lose your job and your pension. Your grandchildren will suffer. Do you understand? Mama Adiz, with tears streaming down her wrinkled face, nodded. She had 5 grandchildren depending on her income. That evening, she could only watch helplessly as 12-year-old Kochi scrubbed the kitchen floor, his small frame trembling with exhaustion and hunger. Dubum made things worse. He invited his 15-year-old friends over regularly. They would mock Kochi, make him serve them drinks, and force him to do humiliating things for their entertainment. Fetch my shoes, houseboy, one would command. Dance for us, another would laugh, recording on his phone. When Kochi refused, Dubum would twist his arm behind his back until the child cried out in pain. Do it, or I'll hurt you worse, Dubum would threaten. Every evening, Chief Emeka called from South Africa, but Ngozi was always prepared. Darling, we miss you, she would say sweetly into the phone. Then she'd hand it to Kochi with a warning look. Papa. Kochi's small voice would crack with emotion. How are you, son? Is everything okay? Kochi wanted to scream the truth. Wanted to tell his father about the beatings, the starvation, the cruelty. But Ngozi stood right there, her eyes promising terrible consequences if he spoke. Everything is fine, Papa, he would lie, his heart breaking. Are you being good for your new mother? Yes, Papa. That's my boy. I'll be home in 2 more weeks. 2 more weeks. 14 more days of this hell. Could he survive it? That night, locked in his small storage room, 12-year-old Kochi prayed for his father to come home, prayed for someone to believe him, prayed for his mother to somehow save him from heaven. But no one came. No one heard. No one believed. And the nightmare continued. What? She hit a 12-year-old child. She took his dead mother's necklace. If you're raging right now, smash that like button and subscribe to African Tales by Inayah. Drop a comment. How would you punish Ngozi if you were Chief Emeka? This 12-year-old baby is suffering alone. Next chapter is when Papa comes home early and catches them. You do not want to miss his reaction. Share this video. Turn on notifications. Chief Emeka concluded his business meetings in South Africa 3 days early. The merger had been successful, but throughout the negotiations, his mind kept drifting to home. Something felt off in his phone calls with Kochi. His son's voice sounded strained, distant. "I'm going home early," he told Mr. Chima, his assistant. "Don't inform anyone. I want to surprise them." "Should I arrange for the driver to pick you up, sir?" "No, I'll take a taxi. Keep it a surprise." 20 hours later, Chief Emeka's taxi pulled through the mansion gates. It was 3 p.m. on a Tuesday, a time when Kochi should have been at school. But something told Chief Emeka to come home, to check on his family. He paid the driver and walked quietly to his front door. Music was playing inside, loud, cheerful music. He smiled. At least they seemed happy. He pushed open the door silently, intending to surprise them. What he saw made his heart stop. In the center of his pristine marble living room, his 12-year-old son was on his hands and knees, scrubbing the floor with a rag. But it was the sight of Kochi that made Chief Emeka's blood run cold. The child, his baby boy, was wearing torn, filthy rags that barely fit. His small arms, once healthy and strong, were now thin, covered with bruises. His face was gaunt, his cheeks hollow. The boy had lost so much weight that his collarbone protruded sharply. Dubem lounged on the Italian leather sofa, his feet, dirty feet, propped on the coffee table. He was playing with a phone, completely relaxed. "You missed a spot, houseboy." Dubem barked without looking up. "Right there by my foot. Are you blind, you useless child?" Ngozi sat in Chief Emeka's favorite chair, the chair that had been his late wife's, filing her nails and laughing. Around her neck was Chioma's gold necklace. "Honestly, Kochi," Ngozi said mockingly, "you're slower than an actual maid. At least real servants know how to work. You're just a useless burden." "Please," Kochi's small, broken voice begged. "Can I have some water? I'm so thirsty." "Water?" Ngozi laughed cruelly. "You can drink after you finish the whole house. Now scrub." Chief Emeka's briefcase slipped from his hand and crashed onto the marble floor. Bang! 3 heads whipped toward the door. Time seemed to freeze. Ngozi's face drained of all color, her confident smirk replaced by pure terror. Dubem scrambled to his feet, the phone clattering to the ground. And Kochi, precious, broken Kochi, looked up at his father with eyes so full of pain, shame, and desperate hope that Chief Emeka felt his heart shatter into pieces. "Papa." Kochi's voice was barely a whisper, as if he couldn't believe his father was real. "What is happening here?" Chief Emeka's voice shook the very walls. Ngozi recovered first, her face transforming instantly into a mask of false concern. Tears sprang to her eyes as she rushed toward him. "Oh, darling. Thank God you're home early. I've been trying so hard, but Kochi has been absolutely impossible. So disrespectful, so lazy. I was just teaching him some discipline and responsibility." "Be quiet." The roar that came from Chief Emeka made even Dubem cower. He had never, in 6 months of marriage, raised his voice to Ngozi. Chief Emeka crossed the room in 3 strides and knelt beside his son. Up close, the damage was even worse. Kochi's hands were raw and blistered from scrubbing. There was a fading bruise on his cheek. His small body trembled with fear and exhaustion. "Son," Chief Emeka said gently, his voice breaking, "look at me." Slowly, Kochi raised his eyes to meet his father's. Chief Emeka saw everything in those eyes: the pain, the betrayal, the suffering, the loss of innocence. "What have they done to you?" he whispered. Before Kochi could answer, Ngozi interjected desperately. Emeka, darling, you don't understand. He's been so difficult since you left. I had to be firm with him. I said be quiet. Chief Emeka stood, his 42-year-old frame radiating fury. He turned to face his wife, and she actually stepped back from the rage in his eyes. Mama Adiz, he called out sharply. The old housekeeper appeared from the kitchen, and Chief Emeka's heart sank further. She looked terrified, guilty, her eyes red from crying. Mama Adiz, Chief Emeka said more gently, I want the truth. All of it. And I promise whatever you tell me, you won't face any consequences. Please. My son's life depends on it. The old woman broke. 6 months of silent witness, of forced complicity, came pouring out in sobs. Sir, forgive me. She threatened me, sir. She said she'd destroy me if I told. But I should have spoken anyway. I should have protected that child. What did they do to him? Chief Emeka demanded. Everything, sir. The moment you left, she changed. She's been beating him, sir. Making him sleep in the storage room. Giving him scraps to eat while they feast. She took Madam Chioma's belongings and gave them all to Dubum. She makes him do all the housework, a 12-year-old child, sir. She hits him, curses him, calls him terrible names. That boy, she pointed at Dubum. He and his friends beat Master Kochi for fun. They humiliate him. I've seen it all, sir, and I hate myself for staying silent. Lies. Ngozi shrieked. She's lying. Emeka, you can't believe. Then explain this. Chief Emeka grabbed Kochi's small hands and held them up. The raw, blistered palms spoke volumes. Explain why my 12-year-old son has hands like a laborer. Explain the bruises. Explain why he's lost so much weight. He turned to the other household staff who had gathered, drawn by the commotion. All of you, tell me the truth now. One by one they spoke. The cook, the gardener, the driver, all had witnessed pieces of the horror show. Some had been bribed, others threatened, but all had stayed silent. She burned Madam Chioma's photographs in the fireplace, the cook said quietly. I tried to stop her, but she threatened to have me arrested. She destroyed the headstone at Madam Chioma's grave, the driver added. Said she was tired of living in a dead woman's shadow. Chief Emeka's legs nearly gave way. He looked at Ngozi, this woman he had married, this monster he had brought into his home. You did this. His voice was dangerously quiet. To my child. My 12-year-old son who just lost his mother. Ngozi's mask had completely shattered. No more fake tears, no more sweet voice. Her face twisted with hatred. That ungrateful brat needed to learn his place, she spat. You have money, I wanted it. Simple as that. And that stupid child was just in the way. Chief Emeka felt something break inside him. He looked down at Kochi, still kneeling on the floor, too afraid to move, too traumatized to speak. Come here, son, Chief Emeka said softly. Kochi slowly stood on shaky legs. Chief Emeka pulled him into his arms, and the child, who had been so strong, so silent through weeks of torture, finally broke. He sobbed into his father's chest, his small body shaking with the force of his cries. I'm sorry, Papa, Kochi wept. I tried to tell you, but she said you wouldn't believe me. She said you'd send me away. I was so scared, Papa. I was so scared. I know, son. I know. This is my fault. I should have protected you. I'm so sorry. Chief Emeka held his child with one arm and pulled out his phone with the other. He called Mr. Chima. Get to my house immediately. Bring security, bring lawyers, and bring the police. Now. He turned to Ngozi and Dubum, and his voice became steel. You have 15 minutes to pack one bag each. Everything else stays. Every piece of jewelry, every gift, everything. You're leaving my house, and you're never coming back. You can't do this. Ngozi screamed. I'm your wife. You're a monster who tortured my child. Chief Emeka's voice shook with fury. And you're going to pay for every bruise, every tear, every moment of pain you caused him. Within an hour, his house was full of people. Mr. Chima arrived with security personnel. Police officers came to take statements. And most importantly, Dr. Adebayo, the family physician, examined Kochi. The doctor's report made Chief Emeka want to destroy everything. Severe malnutrition. Multiple contusions. Signs of prolonged psychological trauma. This is child abuse, Dr. Adebayo said quietly. Severe child abuse. He needs immediate medical and psychological care. As police handcuffed Ngozi and Dubum, she screamed at Kochi. This is your fault, you stupid child. You ruined everything. I should have. That's enough. Chief Emeka shielded his son from her venomous words. Take them away. As the police cars pulled away, Chief Emeka held Kochi close. The 12-year-old was finally safe, finally believed, finally protected. But the real question remained. Could a child's broken heart ever truly heal? Finally. Papa saw the truth. Did you see Ngozi's evil face when she got caught? If you're crying and celebrating right now, smash that like button and subscribe to African Tales by Inayah. Drop a comment. Was this punishment enough? Or should they get worse? Next chapter reveals even more shocking evidence. You won't believe what else they did to this child. Share this video. Turn on notifications. The next morning, Chief Emeka's mansion had transformed into a war room. Mr. Chima sat with 3 lawyers, reviewing documents. Police officers interviewed staff members. And Dr. Adebayo remained upstairs with Kochi, who had spent the night in his father's bedroom, too afraid to be alone. Sir, Mr. Chima said carefully, approaching Chief Emeka. We've compiled the financial records. It's worse than we thought. Chief Emeka, who hadn't slept all night, looked up with red-rimmed eyes. Show me. The numbers were staggering. In just 6 months, Ngozi had transferred over 20 million naira to offshore accounts. Designer clothes, expensive jewelry, luxury items, all purchased with his money. She was planning to bleed you dry, Mr. Chima said. And there's more. We found evidence she was in contact with your business competitors, selling confidential information. Corporate espionage, one of the lawyers noted. That's a serious crime. What about the security footage? Chief Emeka asked. Mr. Chima hesitated. Sir, are you sure you want to see it? It's very difficult to watch. I need to see everything she did to my son. What Chief Emeka watched over the next hour destroyed him. The footage was clear, time-stamped, undeniable. Hidden backup cameras he'd installed years ago had captured everything. Ngozi slapping Kochi across the face, hard enough to knock the 12-year-old to the ground. Dubum pushing Kochi down the stairs. The child tumbling, crying out in pain. Ngozi forcing Kochi to kneel on rice grains for hours as punishment. An old, cruel torture technique. Dubum and his friends making Kochi eat food off the floor while they laughed and recorded it. Ngozi gathering Chioma's photographs and burning them in the fireplace while Kochi begged and cried. The child being locked in the storage room for an entire day without food or water. Ngozi yanking Kochi by his ear, dragging him through the house, screaming that he was worthless and should have died instead of his mother. Chief Emeka had to pause the footage multiple times, overcome with grief and rage. His hands shook as he gripped the desk. Turn it off, he finally whispered. Please, turn it off. But Mr. Chima had one more clip to show him. Sir, you need to see this one. It's from 5 days ago. On screen, Ngozi and Dubum sat in the living room late at night, drinking wine and talking. How much longer do we have to keep this up? Dubum complained. I'm tired of pretending to be nice when the old man's around. Ngozi smiled coldly. Not much longer, my dear. Maybe another 6 months, a year at most. Then what? Then Chief Emeka will have a very unfortunate accident, Ngozi said casually, sipping her wine. A car crash, perhaps. Or maybe something during one of his trips. These things happen. Dubum laughed. And then everything's ours? Everything. The company, the houses, the money. All of it. What about the brat? Ngozi's expression turned vicious. That miserable child? He'll have an accident too. Or maybe I'll just work him to death. Either way, he won't be a problem much longer. No one will care about one dead orphan. The video ended. The room was silent. Chief Emeka sat perfectly still, his face drained of color. She had been planning to murder him. And his son. His 12-year-old son. That's attempted murder conspiracy, the senior lawyer said. Combined with the child abuse, theft, and fraud, she's looking at serious prison time. Both of them are. Dr. Adebayo came downstairs, his expression grave. Chief, we need to talk about Kochi. They moved to a private room. The doctor's report was heartbreaking. Your son has lost 15 pounds in less than 3 weeks. For a 12-year-old, that's severe malnutrition. He has multiple bruises in various stages of healing. Arms, back, legs, face. 3 of his ribs show signs of trauma. He's severely dehydrated and anemic. The doctor paused, his voice dropping. But the physical damage, while serious, will heal. It's the psychological trauma I'm more worried about. He's showing signs of severe anxiety, depression, and PTSD. He flinches at loud noises. He's terrified of being left alone. He barely speaks. Chief, this child has been tortured. Not just abused, tortured. And he's only 12 years old. Will he recover? Chief Emeka's voice broke. With intensive therapy, love, and time, yes. But it won't be easy. He needs a child psychologist immediately. He needs to feel safe again. And most importantly, he needs to know that you believe him and that you won't leave him. I won't, Chief Emeka said firmly. Never again. Mama Adiz approached hesitantly. Sir, there's more you should know. Things I saw that weren't on camera. She told him everything. How Ngozi would wake Kochi at 4 a.m. to clean. How she forced him to massage her feet until his small hands cramped. How she would make him stand in the corner for hours if he made even the smallest mistake. How she told him daily that his mother never loved him, that he was worthless, that no one would ever want him. She was trying to break his spirit, sir, Mama Adiz said, tears streaming down her weathered face. She wanted to turn that beautiful, sweet child into nothing. And I just watched. I'm so ashamed. You were threatened, Chief Emeka said gently. I understand. But thank you for telling me now. The cook had more to add. Sir, Madam Chioma's grave. Madam Ngozi went there last week. She poured bleach on the flowers Kochi had planted. She told me she did it because she wanted to erase every memory of that woman. Chief Emeka felt tears streaming down his face. He had failed his son. Failed to protect him from this monster. Failed to see what was happening in his own home. That evening, police arrested Ngozi and Dubum formally. The charges were extensive. Multiple counts of child abuse, theft, fraud, corporate espionage, and conspiracy to commit murder. As they were led away in handcuffs, Ngozi's lawyer tried to negotiate. My client was simply disciplining a difficult child. Difficult? Dr. Adebayo interrupted, holding up his medical report. This 12-year-old child has injuries consistent with sustained physical abuse. Bruises, malnutrition, psychological trauma. This isn't discipline, it's torture. At the police station, Ngozi showed no remorse. That brat deserved everything he got, she told the officers. Spoiled little rich boy needed to learn his place. Her own words sealed her fate. Back at the mansion, Chief Emeka sat with Kochi in his bedroom. The 12-year-old was clean now, wearing fresh pajamas, his wounds treated. But he looked so small, so fragile, curled up in his father's arms. Papa. Kochi's small voice was hesitant. Yes, son. Will she come back? Never. I promise you, she will never hurt you again. Will you leave again? Chief Emeka felt his heart break. No, son. I'm staying right here. I'm not going anywhere. And from now on, if I ever have to travel, you're coming with me. Promise. I promise. But Chief Emeka knew promises alone wouldn't heal his son. The real work, the hard work of rebuilding trust, of healing trauma, of making a broken child feel safe again, was just beginning. And he had failed once. He couldn't afford to fail again. She was going to murder them. Both of them. This woman is pure evil. If you're shocked and furious, smash that like button and subscribe to AfricanTales by Inayah. Drop a comment. What punishment is enough for someone who tortures a 12-year-old child? Next chapter is the final chapter. The healing journey that will make you cry tears of joy. You need to see how this ends. Share this video. Turn on notifications. 6 months later, golden sunlight streamed through the windows of the Okonkwo mansion. In the dining room, Chief Emeka watched his son eat breakfast. Royal breakfast, with eggs, sausages, fresh fruit, and orange juice. Kochi was 12.5 now, and the change was remarkable. He'd gained back all the weight he'd lost, plus a bit more. His cheeks had color again. His arms showed the healthy muscle tone of an active child. But the real change was in his eyes. They sparkled with life again, though shadows still lingered. How did you sleep, son? Chief Emeka asked, a question he'd asked every morning for 6 months. Good, Papa. Only one bad dream, but it wasn't too scary, Kochi replied, his voice stronger than it had been. It had been a long, difficult 6 months. True to his word, Chief Emeka had cleared his calendar completely. No business trips, no extended meetings. His son came first, always. The first weeks had been the hardest. Kochi couldn't sleep alone, terrified that Ngozi would somehow return. He had panic attacks when he heard footsteps in the hallway. He flinched every time someone raised their voice, even in normal conversation. He barely spoke, barely ate, barely existed. Chief Emeka slept on the floor beside Kochi's bed every night, holding his son's hand until he fell asleep. Some nights, Kochi would wake up screaming, and Chief Emeka would hold him, rock him, remind him over and over, "You're safe. Papa's here. No one will hurt you. I promise." Dr. Amina Ibrahim, a renowned child psychologist, came to the house 3 times a week. She was gentle, patient, and specialized in childhood trauma. Kochi has been through something no child should ever experience, she told Chief Emeka privately after the first session. He's been betrayed by the very people who were supposed to protect him, adults he was taught to trust and obey. Rebuilding that trust will take time. The therapy sessions were heart-wrenching. Kochi would sit in the comfortable chair in the library, sometimes talking, sometimes just crying, sometimes sitting in silence while Dr. Amina waited patiently. I thought it was my fault, Kochi admitted during one session, his 12-year-old voice small and broken. I thought maybe I was a bad boy. That's why she was mean to me. No, sweetheart, Dr. Amina said gently. None of this was your fault. Ngozi and Dubum are bad people who hurt you. You did nothing wrong. But why didn't Papa believe me when I tried to tell him? That question haunted Chief Emeka. He joined the family therapy sessions once a week, and facing his son's pain was the hardest thing he'd ever done. I'm so sorry, Kochi, Chief Emeka said during one particularly difficult session, tears streaming down his face. I failed you. I was so lonely after your mother died, and I wanted so badly for us to be a family again that I ignored the signs. I didn't listen when you tried to tell me. That's on me, not on you. But you're my papa, Kochi said, his small voice trembling. You're supposed to protect me. And you weren't there. The words cut deeper than any knife could. I know, son. And I can't change what happened. But I can promise you this. I will never, ever let anyone hurt you again. I will always believe you. And I will never leave you. What if you have to travel for work? Then you come with me. We've already talked about this, remember? You and I are a team now. Where I go, you go. Promise. Promise. Dr. Amina taught them both coping strategies. For Kochi, breathing exercises for panic attacks, journaling to express feelings, identifying safe people he could trust. For Chief Emeka, how to recognize signs of distress, how to provide comfort without being overbearing, how to rebuild trust through consistent action. Chief Emeka proved his commitment in tangible ways. He installed a new security system that Kochi could control from a tablet. The 12-year-old could see every camera, lock every door, and feel safe. He gave Kochi a phone with direct access to him, Mr. Chima, Dr. Amina, and Mama Adiz, people who could be trusted. Most importantly, he kept his promises. Every single one. If he said he'd be home at 5 p.m., he was home at 5 p.m. If he said they'd have ice cream after dinner, they had ice cream. Small promises, consistently kept, began to rebuild the foundation of trust. Mama Adiz became Kochi's honorary grandmother. She cooked his favorite meals, the recipes his mother used to make. She told him stories about Chioma, keeping his mother's memory alive with love rather than pain. Your mama was so proud of you, she told him one afternoon while they baked chin-chin together. She used to say you had the kindest heart of any child she'd ever known. Really? Kochi's eyes lit up. Really? And she was right. You're a special boy, Kochi. What happened to you doesn't change that. The trial was scheduled for 4 months after the arrest. Chief Emeka asked Kochi if he wanted to testify. You don't have to, he assured his son. The video evidence is strong enough. But if you want to tell the judge what happened in your own words, I'll be right there beside you. Kochi thought about it for days. Finally, he said, I want to. I want them to know they didn't break me. On the day of the trial, the courtroom was packed. News of the case had spread. Stepmother tortures billionaire's 12-year-old son. The media dubbed it the evil stepmother trial. Kochi took the stand wearing a neat blue shirt and khaki pants. Chief Emeka sat in the front row, close enough that Kochi could see him if he needed courage. The prosecutor was gentle. Kochi, can you tell the court what happened after your father left for South Africa? In a clear, steady voice, stronger than anyone expected from a 12-year-old, Kochi told his story. He described the beatings, the starvation, the humiliation, the fear. He showed the courtroom the scars that remained on his hands from scrubbing. He explained how he couldn't tell anyone because Ngozi threatened him. She said Papa wouldn't believe me, Kochi said, his voice breaking slightly. She said he'd send me away. And I was so scared of being alone. When he described how Ngozi burned his mother's photographs, several people in the courtroom wiped away tears. Ngozi's lawyer tried to paint her as a woman trying to discipline a difficult child. But Dr. Amina's testimony destroyed that narrative. This child suffered systematic abuse, she stated firmly. Physical abuse, emotional abuse, psychological torture. The evidence is overwhelming. This wasn't discipline. It was cruelty. The security footage played in the courtroom. Gasps echoed through the gallery as people watched a grown woman beating a 12-year-old child. Some jurors looked away, unable to watch. The verdict came after 2 days of deliberation. Guilty on all counts. Ngozi received 20 years in prison for child abuse, theft, fraud, and conspiracy to commit murder. Dubum, tried as a juvenile but with adult enhancements due to the severity, received 8 years in a juvenile detention facility. The judge's words were harsh. You came into a grieving child's life and turned it into a nightmare. You abused a vulnerable 12-year-old who had just lost his mother. You showed no remorse, no humanity. This court must protect children from monsters like you. As Ngozi was led away in chains, she looked at Kochi one last time. But this time, the 12-year-old didn't flinch. He stood tall, holding his father's hand, and met her gaze steadily. She had no power over him anymore. After the trial, Chief Emeka and Kochi went to Chioma's grave. Chief Emeka had commissioned a beautiful new headstone, white marble with gold lettering and Kochi's mother's favorite Bible verse. Her children rise up and call her blessed. Kochi knelt before the grave and placed fresh flowers, the same type he used to plant with his mother. "Mama," he said softly, "the bad people are gone. Papa came back for me. I'm safe now." He paused, tears streaming down his face. "I miss you every day. But I know you're watching over me. And I'm going to be okay." Chief Emeka knelt beside his son, his own tears falling freely. "Chioma, my love, I failed our son. But I'm making it right. He's healing. He's strong. You'd be so proud of him." They stayed there for a long time, father and son, healing together in the presence of the woman they both loved. Life gradually found a new rhythm. Kochi returned to school with the support of understanding teachers and a counselor. He was cautious about making friends at first, but slowly, his natural kindness began to shine through again. Chief Emeka restructured his business to work primarily from home. He attended every school event, every football practice, every parent-teacher conference. He was present in a way he hadn't been before. One evening, 6 months after the trial, they sat on the veranda watching the sunset. Kochi, now 13, was doing homework while Chief Emeka reviewed documents. "Papa," Kochi said suddenly. "Yes, son. I forgive you." Chief Emeka looked up, surprised. "What?" Kochi closed his textbook and looked at his father with eyes wise beyond his years. "I forgive you for not seeing what was happening. For not believing me at first. Dr. Amina says forgiveness is part of healing. And I want to heal." Chief Emeka felt tears spring to his eyes. He pulled his son into a tight embrace. "Thank you, son. I don't deserve it, but thank you. And I promise you, every single day for the rest of my life, I will earn that forgiveness." "I know you will, Papa. You already are." Mama Adiz watched them from the doorway, her weathered face beaming with joy. "Madam Chioma would be so proud," she whispered. Her boys found their way back to each other. Kochi wasn't the same child he'd been before Ngozi. The trauma had changed him, made him more cautious, more aware of the darkness that could hide behind smiling faces. But it had also made him stronger, more resilient, more compassionate. He started volunteering at a children's shelter, helping other kids who'd been through trauma. "I know what it feels like to be hurt and not believed," he told his father. "I want to help other kids know they're not alone." Chief Emeka watched his son grow, not just in height and age, but in courage and character. The nightmare was over, but the healing continued, would continue for years to come. But they faced it together. Father and son. A family restored not by pretense or perfection, but by truth, accountability, and unconditional love. One night, as Chief Emeka tucked 13-year-old Kochi into bed, his son said something that made everything worthwhile. "Papa, I feel safe now. Really safe." "I'm so glad, son. You deserve to feel safe always." "And Papa? I'm happy again. Not all the time, but most of the time." "That's okay, right?" "That's more than okay, son. That's beautiful." As Kochi drifted off to sleep, Chief Emeka sat in the chair beside his bed, a ritual he'd maintained even though Kochi no longer needed it. He watched his son breathe peacefully, no nightmares chasing him tonight. The journey had been painful. The mistakes had been costly. But they'd made it through to the other side. A child who'd been broken was healing. A father who'd failed had found redemption. And a family torn apart by evil had been restored by love. In the end, that was all that mattered. Oh wow. They both healed. Father and son are together and safe again. If this story touched your heart and made you believe in second chances and healing, smash that like button and subscribe to African Tales by Inayah. Drop a comment. What was your favorite part of this story? Did Kochi's bravery inspire you? We have more powerful stories about family, betrayal, and redemption coming soon. Share this video with someone who needs to hear that healing is possible. Turn on notifications so you never miss a story. Thank you for watching, and remember, even in the darkest times, love and truth can bring us back to the light.